So as I said, I'm going to take you through a bit of a different warm-up. Try and follow along. If you have any issues, just unmute, tell me, and I'll try and talk you through it. But this is more just to get used to a few different exercises. So we're going to start with a bit of a roll down, just loosening up the spine. I'm just going to stand on the side, but really all you want is your feet kind of hip width apart, feet facing forward. Soften the knees so they're not locked, they're a gentle bend. We're going to start with our, so raise the chin slightly to look up, and then bring the chin to the chest. So you've got a nice stretch along the spine already. Start letting your forehead drop towards your belly. Let your arms fall forward, keeping the knees soft, roll down towards your feet. Once you reach the ground or close towards it, bend the knees slightly, and then from the base of the spine, start rolling up one vertebrae at a time. So it's a slow roll up, so you can feel it all. Breathing in, looking up to the ceiling. Breathe out, look down the chest. Start rolling down, so head towards the belly, head toward the knees, so you're hanging down. Bend the knees, and then from the base of the spine, roll it back up. And we're just going to do one more of those. Breathe in, breathe out, chin to chest, head to belly, arms towards the floor, bend the knees, and then roll it up. Okay. We're going to do a chest stretch and rotate. So open palms, link the fingers behind your back. Think about pulling the elbows back so that your chest opens up. Feet apart, and just as you breathe out, rotate to one side. And as you breathe in, come back to the center. Keep the shoulders or the elbows pulled back. In as you come to the center. Out. In. Out. In. One more each side. Out. In. And last one on the other side. Okay, we're going to do a side and a forward stretch. We're going to start with the side, so feet apart, feet either forward or just slightly out on the side. So just stretching over, so you're creating a long line down this side from your arm through your body through your leg. So try and make sure you're not crunching over or bending forward. Keep the body in line with the spine. Reach up towards the ceiling and then over. And then the other side. Once more each side. And change. We're going to do a forward version of that. So we're going to bend at the waist. And we're going to reach forward with a flat back. So it's reaching long. So it's kind of more up over the head if you were standing up again. So it's a similar position. But now we're engaging the back as well. And so just taking your time switching from side to side. So your hamstrings should be getting a little bit of a stretch depending on where you're holding your weight. So whether you're holding it on the balls of the feet or towards the heel, you can play with it a little if you want to give them a bit more of a stretch. And coming up. All right, do some quick hamstring and quad stretches. We'll start with the quads, so just pulling one up. If you need to support yourself on a table or a wall chair, go ahead. Try and keep the knees together. Try and keep the toe of the back foot close towards the backside as possible. If you need to, you can pop that hip out a little bit if you want more of a stretch up the quad here. And then bring it to the front. So trying to pull it into the chest. So try not to let the chest go down. Try and keep the body upright and bring the knee up. And change sides. Quad stretch. And then I'm going to bring it forward for a hamstring stretch. We're going to do a couple of sets of squats. So feet just about hip width, might need a little bit wider depending on your comfort. You can either have your feet forward or slightly out to the side, as long as your knees go over the toes. That's important. Also, don't squat so much that your knees are going past the toes. If that's the case, you're probably going to have to widen your stance a little bit. So just bear that in mind. Keep the chest upright. It's about bending at the hips, knees, and ankles. We're just going to squat, And as we come up, squeeze in the belly and the bum. So breathe in as you come down, out as you come up. If you think about everything's tightening up to do this work, your legs are really engaged the whole time. Give me 5 more. Now we're going to do a variant on that. That's going to engage the calves a bit more. So slightly wider stance so that your feet are out more to the sides or like 45 degrees. So you're going to come down into a deep kind of squat here with hands on the waist or the hips if you need to. What we're going to do is raise one heel up. So squat, come up, change feet. Squat, come up, raise the other heel. Squat, up, change heels. Again, you're focusing on making sure that you're keeping your knees aligned over your toes. Again, breathing in as you come down, out as you come up. One more each side. Next one, we're going to do some calf raises. This is where you can get a towel or a ball or something involved. If you don't have it, it's okay. Just imagine that you've got something in between. So you can have a chair or table beside. You can either face it, one hand, or not at all. What we're going to do is put whatever you're using between the ankles, so kind of the lower leg. And I want you to think about squeezing that in. If that's uncomfortable, you can do it at the knees. Both are valid. It's just you're focusing on a slightly different muscle set. So all we're going to do is our calf raises, so coming up onto the balls of the feet and down. And I want you to think about squeezing whatever you're holding the whole time. So it's always being activated around those muscles. So if you're using it around the knees, you're helping strengthen up the muscles around your knees. And again, you don't want the feet too far out, so you only want something small between the legs.
Mm-hmm.
So always thinking about pulling up through the body, squeeze the backside the entire time, so really working the glutes as well. And that'll help activate the legs. I'm going to do 5 more.
No. Yep, good.
Okay, right. So the next one, if you have it at the ankles, you're going to move it up to the knees. But all we're going to do here is a squeeze. So again, we're using those same muscles, but we're staying on the floor. So I want you to think about squeeze, 2, 3, 4, relax, 2, 3, 4, and squeeze, 2, 3, 4, relax, 2, 3, 4. Squeeze, 2, 3, 4, relax, 2, 3, 4. Squeeze, 2, 3, 4, relax, 2, 3, 4. One more. Squeeze, 2, 3, 4, relax, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you've got a wall, you can use the wall to do this. What we're doing is we're doing the opposite. We're pushing outwards with the knee. If you don't have something like that, you can do this on the floor. And all you're going to be doing is using your hand. So you'll push your hand against your knee and you're focusing on your knee pushing out. So just the knee. And just going to hold it out there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Relax. Change to the other one and push out with the knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Relax. Change to the other side again. Push that knee out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Relax. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, relax. Gonna look at a little bit of wrist mobilization. So just starting with, just gonna do a flex. Now you can either use your hand, you can use the wall, you can use the floor. In fact, I'm gonna drop down the camera a little bit for some of these. Or if you've got a chair, you can use the chair. So if you're doing it on the floor, all you're doing is placing the palm open, fingers open rather, and try and lean forward. So you're getting a nice stretch at the joint there. You can bring it as far forward as you like. You can bend the elbow if it's a bit uncomfortable. You're just letting it get used to that position. So just breathe into it. So breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Try and push the angle a little bit more if you can now. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and relax. Change to the other wrist. So again, palm flat, fingers wide open for support. Just take it as far as is comfortable to begin with. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Take it a bit further if you can, in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more, in through the nose, out through the mouth. I'm going to reverse that now. So we're going to think about flopping the hands forward. So if your arms are up, the fingers are pointing down, like pointing back towards your body if you're in this position. So easier on the floor with this one. So knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders, and you're just gently pressing the wrists into the floor. So you can keep it completely vertical if that's what's comfortable. If you can start leaning back a little bit to increase that stretch. Just keep breathing in as you do it. Breathe in and out. With each breath out, see if you can go a bit further. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Just cross your fingers together, clasp them tight, and just gentle wrist rolls. I was going to call them ankles. I guess they're your hand ankles. All you're trying to do is get nice open rotation in there, coming around the other way. Okay. We're going to grab your towel or whatever you're using again. Going to be putting it between the wrists and the forearm. So all you're doing is thinking about squeeze, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. And if you don't have anything, you can just literally do it like this. So again, you're just pushing against yourself. So either way, so in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. Again, when you're going the opposite motion, you can do this against the wall. So if you've got a wall or something, you can do it against there. Or if you don't want to use that, grab the outside of your arm. So this palm is facing in. Grab on the outside of this arm, just below the elbow. Pull this way, push that way. So we're working on the strength here. So push out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. So try and keep this tense all the way through from the wrist to the shoulder, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. You can, if you want, move it to the wrist and work from there. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. And one more. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. I'm going to go on to the other side. So again, start in the same position as you were before. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. Again, if you swap positions, move to them when you need to. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. One more. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, relax. All right, how are you feeling?
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah? Any of those cause any pain or issues?
Let me think. When I was doing this one, I ended up feeling slightly sore about here, behind my shoulder. Yeah.
Okay. So it might be the angle. So you might do better doing this against the wall. Or I suppose there's no reason you can't actually do it against the floor lying flat. So just pushing down.
Yeah.
So that might stop an over angle in that shoulder. But if you are having any issues with that shoulder and you are feeling pain when you do those exercises, better to stop and let me know, and I'll come up with something else you can work with instead. Because you could technically do the crossbody version. That's still working those muscles, but it may change just the pain if you're experiencing pain. All right, so that's kind of what's going to happen with some of the warm-ups from now on. I'm going to introduce a few new things so you can try them out, hopefully get a little bit more mobility and everything. I was going to make you do chair dips, but I'm going to leave them out for now because otherwise time gets away from us. Grab a quick drink if you need to. So you said your preference was for Jukendo?
Yeah, Jukendo. I'll just be a sec.
That's okay. So yeah, anytime you're doing any of those hold exercises, you are trying to hold it for several breaths. So just control your breathing. I said every time you exhale, that's a really good time to see if you can push it a little bit further, because then your body's going to relax out into a little bit. All right. And I think we got a Kaylin back. Okay, so Mokuju time. Let's start with some Nita Tsuta, just warming it up. Coming into Kamae, check your footwork or your foot position rather. Make sure that right elbow is coming forward, left arm is in, and an open left palm. So focus on something in your line of sight. Try and make sure that you finish horizontally with each strike. I know a lot of the time I talk about locking this elbow. I should explain, you don't really want to lock it. What you want to do is tension through this arm, which for a lot of people is very similar to locking, but the more tension you have, the stronger it's going to be. So I know locking or keeping it straight is one way to get the visual across, which can help in the mind, but I want you to really think about that tension along that arm.
Okay, so it's extended, but not like hyperextended, right?
Yeah, you don't want to hyperextend because that's a danger if something comes from the angle. The idea with this is you want tension all the way from your shoulder blades through the arm, down through the forearm, down through the wrist. For a lot of people, if you're not used to focusing on those muscles, saying you straighten it or lock it is a good way to get the idea until the muscles are built up, and then the muscles can start doing that work without you needing to worry so much about the elbow. But locking can also cause pain, which is, well, it's generally a bad thing. I probably should not have been referring it to that as such previously. Anyway, so we're going to come into here, and I want you to focus on the tension in that left arm. So that, like a really strong tenuch, all the way from the wrist up through the back into behind the shoulder blade. So locking through there. So, Jame, ich, ni, ich, 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 Emo, ich, ni, san, shi, go, rook, shich, hutch. Roll it out. All right, just going to do some skimai. So standard skimai, focusing on nice, strong footwork, kikan taichi, and then strong zanshin back. So, ski, yup, 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 See if you can pick up the pace now. Yeah, 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 yeah. 8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, touch, and roll it out. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Always focus on controlling your breath. All right. So, do you have enough room to do skinagashi?
Maybe just, yes.
Okay. Look, even if it's just one step afterwards, that's plenty. It's just I want to continue the movement. So, wherever you've got, go, yeah. So, literally one step is fine. Someone keeps trying to ring me. So, in your own time, nagashi. What you mean? Yeah. 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 One more. Yeah. Roll it out. Breathe. Just checking the time. Okay. How you feeling? Warm?
Yeah, pretty warm, yeah.
Good. All right. Just trying to think. So let's look at Haraitsuki. Just trying to make it one smooth attack. So leaning it forward, Haraitsuki, and then return. Hajime. Yeah. 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 8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, touch. Breathe. Okay. Grab a drink if you need to. No, I do.
Hey, just a moment. I'll just be a moment.
That's all right. So, as I said, always focusing on the tension up here. It's going to feel tired the more you do that. But obviously, the more you do it, the more you're going to build up those muscles. But you do need to focus on that tensioning all along from here in the traps, all the way around through the arm to the wrist. All right. So next one to do is mai tsuki mai. So little step, ski, little pressure step afterwards. So basically, mai tsuki mai, and then retreat. Hajime. Yeah.
Up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Up.
Yeah.
Up.
Yeah.
Up.
Yeah.
Up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Up.
Yeah.
Up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Up.
Yeah. One more.
Up.
Yeah.
Up.
Relax. Breathe. 6:35. Okay. All right. Are there any particular techniques that you want to go over or talk about?
All right. Just a moment here. Hey, let me think. Perhaps the other Harai, I suppose, might not be a bad idea. Hey.
Okay. All right. So we'll start. We'll do a few Hidari Harai ski. And then if you've got any questions, we'll stop and have a bit of a chat about technique, because I think you know this one pretty well. What we're going to do, instead of starting from Chudan, bring it out a little bit to the right and up, which makes Hidari much more likely. So it's as if someone's coming in a little bit low, maybe towards here to the Totsu, because you've got an opening. So rotate. Yeah. The same thing again, try and make it smooth. Yeah. 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 Two more. Yeah. Yeah. Roll it out. Breathing in through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Did you want to look at Shita as well, or was it more for Hidari?
Yeah, sure, we can try Shita. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So remembering the difference obviously between Hidari and Shita is pretty much where the backhand is. So you're kind of rotating up from the hip up into kind of the pectoral area, center of your chest. And that you're basically aiming for someone who's coming more at sort of low hips, as if they're coming in for Shita itself, obviously. So it's not that they're down here on your thigh, although there might be if they've aimed really badly. They're here at the kind of the base of your rib cage. So you're still trying to hit with up here, your mono itch. So it doesn't have to go down here, because their weapon is unlikely to be down there. If it is, you've just gone for ski, let's be honest. So it's on straight angle with, say, the bottom of my rib here, just kind of just below the tip of my kensen, and then ski. All right, in your own time. Hajime. Yeah. 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 8 more. Ich. Ni. San. Chi. So. Look. Chich. Touch. Whew. Oh, I always regret saying there's 8 more when I have to count them out. Whew. Much how to do that. All right. Again, focus on breathing, grab a drink if you need to. About 20 minutes. All right. Now, do you want to do more Kihon with the Mokuju, or do you want to switch to Tankendo?
Let me see. Yeah, maybe Tanken. Yeah, hi.
Okay. Because you haven't had a chance of it, because we didn't do it last week.
Yeah.
Last Tuesday. So, first exercise, I really do just want to focus again on that wrist action, the Tanuch action. So we're going to start with just sitting hand in kamae. I just want you to start relaxed, and then Tanuch. Relax and Tanuch. So really thinking about the tension that's coming along the forearm. Might even see the muscles twitching. You can see it's twitching all the way up, not just in my forearm, but also in the bicep and also up in the pectorals. It's all getting affected by that Tanuch. So it should be all the way up the body. And that means it should be the same when you strike door. So again, just coming into kamae, think about the Tanuch there. And again, when we talk about the straight elbow and the elbow coming up, it's very much about the muscles tensioning all the way along, not just about locking the elbow, because you need the muscles behind it to be strong so that it still doesn't lose its power. So just focusing on the stab with the full arm tensioning into that move. And your arm should be starting to feel a little sore around now. And relax. Roll out the arm, roll out the wrist, give it a good rotation. Flex it up against the body if you need to, both directions. All right, so let's do some actual ski now. So just going to do a dot ski. So with the might, and then a strong pullback. So again, in your own time, we'll start off slow. I might pick up the pace a bit. So breathe in, breathe out. Hajime. Yup. Yup. Keep thinking about that tension in the arm. Think about your posture to make sure your upper body really isn't moving apart from that arm thrusting forward. Everything else should be tight. So think about trying to squeeze the belly button to your spine. Eight more. Ich, ni, san, chi, gu, ruk, chich, touch. And roll out that arm, roll out the shoulder, the big circle. And do the other shoulder too for balance sake. All right, shake it out. Okay, men utte. So this one again, just make sure I don't hit the ceiling. I'm going to move the camera up slightly. There we go. Again, you don't want to hyperextend. The problem is that locking is such a good way of describing it. But again, it's about the tension through the muscle. So it's not all about the elbow snapping into place. Then you're going to get elbow injuries. So equivalent of, I guess, tennis elbow. But this is smacking people on the head elbow. And I don't know of a shorter name for that. So really focusing on tensioning throughout the whole arm, all the way to your shoulder blades with each strike. Again, make sure that back foot's coming in as quickly as possible and coming in underneath you. You don't want it to be behind or drag. You're going to lose distance and you're going to lose speed. So, meno utte, hajime. 8 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When you're done, roll out the shoulders. Breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, and in, and out. Give your arm a stretch across the body. And the other side. A little bit of cardio today.
Hi.
Good for the heart, good for the soul, supposedly.
True.
All right, so Daiichi Kyoshu, doing all the standards. So do, men, nodo, kote, arai, ki. Again, if you don't have room, just do it on the spot, come back each time, and whatever works for you. But again, focusing on that tensioning through the arm on each strike. And if you are moving forward, make sure that back leg is coming with you. Now, I won't get sitting here. So check your kamae, make sure your body is upright, going up through the center of the head, knees slightly bent. So starting with do, ya, men, ya, nodo, ya, kote, ya, arai, ya. And again, do, ya, men, ya, nodo, ya, kote, ya, arai, ya. And again, in your own time, ya, 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 ya. Once more, ya, 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 ya. Again, ya, 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 ya. 2 more times. Ya, 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 ya. Roll it out, grab a drink.
All right, just a moment.
That's right. So if your shoulders are feeling a bit sore, you can do a few back and chest stretches. So if the chest is sore across here, put hands back behind you, link together, and pull them out as you push your chest forward. This is also quite nice for the shoulders and arms as well. So just stretching out that way, and then bring the hands in front, place them together. And this time bend the knees. You're stretching out the spine this way now, as well as a bit of the shoulders. And roll it out. Alrighty, what is the time? Okay, I just want to look at a little bit of Irimi Seito technique, more about the hips and the weight position, and the feet. I might need to lower it a little bit more because the arms are slightly less important in this scenario. Because for all of them, the footwork, the powering, the rotation, the actual Irimi Seito are basically the same. So just basing it on number 6, the first Irimi Seito kata. So the idea is that we have our left foot in front, our right hand is pulled down to our hip. So what I want you to think of here is that with the Irimi Seitais, your weight should have dropped. So your knees are always bent. Once you've grabbed them, you want to drop your weight. I just want to practice from this position here, dropping your weight down. So think about the hips just being pulled down from the top of the hips. Or think about wearing a really, really heavy diaper, I guess is the best equivalent. You just want your center of gravity to drop. So even if you're thinking about, start with, again, left leg forward, both hands in, put the left hand out. And as you rotate here with this back foot, I want you to think about coming up into the ball of the foot as you drop that weight. So the hips should be coming around with you. Think about pulling the left hip back and down. And do this one in your own time, because everyone's knees can take different amounts of this. But it is important that you do have the rotation on that back foot going. So going from flat or almost flat on the floor to full rotation, so your knee is in the same direction as your toe. You have to have that as it moves with your hip. So don't let it be part way or let the knee go in further. Hard to leave it out of it, but you really want that rotation. And it is very much about that left hip going, whew. So someone's grabbed the left hip and gone, pulled you back. And then you can start incorporating the actual ski. So left foot in front, both knees bent, left hand forward. As we pull that left hip back, we drop the weight. And then we pull it from that drop position back. So this time it's the right hip coming back. Left hip, right hip. Left hip, right hip. Left hip, right hip. And again, do this slowly if you need to, because again, everyone's knees are different. Take a break whenever you want to. I mean, you're almost never going to have a straight arm doing this though, because if you do, you basically grab their wrist. So you're always going to have a slightly bent arm on this. Unless they've managed to somehow move their belly that far out of the way. And relax. Roll it out, shake up the feet. Okay. So we're just going to practice those irimi seitai positions. So from number 6, we start in shudan. We've stepped through, we've locked down. So it's across our body now. Their arm, their elbow is here, pretty much directly in front of you. So you need to step in basically where your tsuba is with your left foot. Grab, drop, ski, and withdraw. So again, you lock tsuba, keep the pressure down on there to keep their weapon in place. Step forward with your left foot to basically where your tsuba is. That's around about where their foot will be. And then as you're close enough and you're still under control, pull back, left hip back, right hip back. So always think about that rotation. So it's right hip back, then left hip back, then right hip back. So you're doing a little bit of a belly dance shimmy. And you know, literally, if you want to just practice doing a little shimmy, get the bells on. Nothing wrong with that. And try and make sure it's the hips going and not the upper body. No. So actually, that's not bad. Pop that down for a second. So I'm just going to talk about isolation here. A lot of the time when we move, we want to use other parts of the body. What I want you to do, feet apart, about hip width, wherever's comfortable. Knees and toes slightly out to the side. I want you to think about keeping everything else still. So if you need to place your hands on your chest and your belly. I want you to think about pushing the right hip forward. And then, or actually think about pulling the right hip back rather. And then pull the left hip back. And the right hip back. Left hip back. And you can do this quite slowly. So there's not much rotation going on above the waist. It's all in here. So if you need to, you can use your hands to guide. So push. Actually, it's a bit harder if you get hands involved. So even if you're using the mirror, where you can just see your, keep your hands on your chest and your belly, and try and keep them from getting involved as little as possible as you pull each hip back. And then you can do a little bit of a belly dance figure 8 if you need to.
The hips don't lie.
Yeah. So basically, it's very much a case of the rotation isn't from up here, it's from here, and it's literally about dragging that one hip back to create that speed. If you're trying to do it from the front hip, you're never going to get that speed on rotation. So if I'm in position, me trying to get the speed by going that way is never going to be the same as me going and pulling that one down. That one's always going to be faster. All right. What's that? Okay, cool. So that's Irimi Setai number 1. We block, we step in, we pull back the right hip as we grab and drop, left hip back, right hip back. One from number 7. So this time we're both in Gedan. They attack over here towards our right hip. We rotate our wrist and block that way. Their arm is basically in the same line as our arm over that way. We're going to step in. And from here, right hip then goes backwards as we come underneath their elbow. Drop. Left hip, right hip. So we're blocked over to our right and down. We step into roughly about halfway up our tenshino. Come in underneath, right hip, left hip, right hip. Lock. Step in, grab underneath. Through. The one for number 8. This one's about timing. So they've come in Gedan, you're at Irimi, you pressure downwards, they pull their weapon out. You need to basically step in as fast as you can, pushing your arm up. So again, that tensioning we're talking about throughout the arm. So from here, really strong. You can see how far I've traveled, because they're likely to have stepped back a little bit anyway. So you need to come in deep. You need to bring that back foot with you to stabilize. That right arm needs to be strong. And then from here, stepping in, left hand comes up, drop the right hip, left, right. So again, we've locked. You step in big, left hand comes up, right hand hip drops. Okay, so always focusing on those hips. The more you work on the rotation, the stronger that's going to get. All right, how are you feeling?
Not bad. Yeah, it's getting tired now.
Good. So this one's a little bit more, I guess, endurance, because I know you like to get a little bit more cardio.
Right.
So like to feel like you've got a bit of a sweat on. But it's also just a really good way of focusing on that tensioning through the body. So hopefully that was good for you. I know it was good for me. So what I'm going to do now, and so I'm going to make this a bit more part of the regular sessions. I'm going to spend about 5 minutes doing a warm down. You don't have to stay for it right now if you don't have the time, or if you've got to do other things. You need to leave part way through. That's fine. This is more just about making sure people have the opportunity to stretch out and relax. So you can even turn your camera if you want to. I will not feel in any way slighted. But again, this is just here so you guys have later on if you need it. So I'm going to pull out the mat because it's much more comfortable than the carpet.
Right.
First thing I'm actually going to do is just a hamstring stretch. So I've got my feet wide, so wide open. I like to have my feet quite wide because that's comfortable for me. And all I'm doing is I'm just going to hang down and relax my upper body. So however far you get, that's fine. What you're doing is creating the stretch up the back of the legs here. And the more that you push backwards towards, push back towards the heel, the more of a stretch you'll get up here. And if you need to, you can just grab your arms at the elbows and just hang down. That'll help create a bit of a stretch along the back too. So with all these stretches, just take some time to breathe in and then slowly out. Place your hands on the floor. We're just going to come down to the ground. We're going to do what's called cat-cow, which makes a lot more sense when you see it. So going into what's called a 4-point kneel. So on our knees, knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. So we've got this nice little square. What I want you to do from here is think about the center of your spine. And I want you to think a piece of string's being tied to it and being pulled to the roof, like you're a marionette. So this is the cat position. And then I want you, as you breathe out, to push down from that center of the spine. Think about your hips pushing back. And you're going to cave the other way. So this is the cow position. I don't know why it's a cow position. I guess it's the assumption if you've got udders at this point. So you're just stretching out the spine. So breathe in and come up. So push down into the ground with your arms and your forearms and your shoulders. And then breathe out. Push it out with your hips, down with your spine, up with your hips. Breathe in. And breathe out. From here, you're going to take the right arm up, so you're stretching up to the sky. And then all we're going to do is going to roll it in underneath. So just to show you from here, so from up here, it's going to bring it down onto the floor or as far as you can reach. This is a really nice stretch across the back of the shoulder. If it's a bit painful for you, you don't have to go all the way down, or you can just stay in the cat cow. Just breathe into this. And slowly come up. Again, put your hands in the 4-point kneel. Open up with the left arm to the ceiling. Stretch there through the spine. And then bring it down and through. And relax into it. Coming back up. Just sitting on your backside. Legs in front of you. So I'm going to bring the left leg over my right leg, so it's crossing over the front. I'm going to put my left leg inside my left arm inside my left leg and just push back against. So I'm creating a bit of a spinal rotation here. Try and look as far as you can to the right shoulder. Relax. Turn the other way. So the right arm's going to come to the outside of the left knee and look the other way. Then we're going to change legs. So both down, right leg comes over the left foot. Right arm comes inside the right leg. Rotate. Think about trying to sit up through the spine. And the other side. We're going to go into what I call the butterfly. So you're just going to bring your feet in, knees out. Doesn't matter how far in they are, wherever you feel comfortable. And holding onto your toes, I want you to think about pressing your knees down towards the floor. This helps open up your hip flexors as well as strengthening up the abductor muscles on the outside of your leg. If you can pull up straight with your back as well, that'll actually help stretch out your spine a little bit, and sometimes your shoulders too. If that's a bit too painful, just relax. It's all fine. All right. Going to go into a side stretch or side split. Doesn't matter how far they are out, as long as you've got a bit of a stretch on the inside of the thighs. All we're going to do is start with just put your hands in front of you in the center and gently push forward as far as you're comfortable. You want to think about your toes and your knees pushing out towards the back. So they're rolling back behind you as you're trying to bring your upper body forward. I'm going to come onto the side so you can see the angle creating here. So I'm keeping my back fairly straight. All I'm doing is getting a nice stretch on the inside of the thighs. With each breath, you can try crawling your hands out a little bit further and see if you can take it any deeper. Try and relax into the thighs. I know it can be quite difficult if it's a deep stretch. One more breath in and out. Just gently bring yourself back up. I'm going to reach out to one leg. So this is my right leg. I'm going to reach over my left arm. Instead of reaching towards the toe, I actually want to reach to the outside of my knee because that's going to give me a lovely stretch up my left side as well. Just take it down as far as you can. So if you can go further than, if it's at your thigh, that's fine. You can get to your knee, that's fine. But basically just keep pushing to see how far down your leg you can actually reach. So try not to let your spine curl over, so you're trying to keep it relatively straight. And I'll change angle so you can see what I'm doing. Then do the other leg. So again, right leg out to the left, outside the left leg. And again, bring it down as far as you're comfortable, getting that nice stretch along the right side. And relax. Just going to do a couple little back and spinal stretches. So coming onto your back, just lying down. All you're going to do is bring your knees into your chest and hug them to you. Just breathing in and relaxing. Pretend you're hiding in a giant dinosaur egg. Or you're in a suitcase and someone's going to smuggle you away on the airplane on holiday. Maybe to Bali. Or maybe you're going to the snow. A good little suitcase. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Drop the knees or feet. So let your feet relax here. Then take my right leg and I'm going to put my right ankle over my left, like this. Now, you can do this a couple of different ways. You can either sit up and keep pushing your body towards your knee and your knee away towards the floor. So this knee that's up, think about it extending towards the floor because that's going to open up a nice stretch there. If you're comfortable there, you can just stay there. That's not a problem. If you want to try something else, you can basically come onto your back and lift up the left leg, grab behind the thigh, and pull it into your body. Again, still thinking about pushing the right knee. And release, legs down. Again, if you need to do the sitting version, left knee or left ankle over the right knee. Think about pushing the left knee down towards the floor. You want to come onto the back, your back and raise up the right leg. Both feet on the floor. Just find a position where you're comfortable, whether it's knees up, legs down, arms out, arms on chest, arms behind head, wherever it is. And just want you to close your eyes for a second and breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose and out. Do 5 more breaths like this in your own time. Last breath. And open your eyes when you're ready. Roll over. And call it a day. So hopefully you're feeling a little relaxed after all that.
Yeah.
So it's always really important to make sure you do a little bit of a cool down. Just let's make sure that your muscles don't go into a bit of a shock because you've stopped stretching and you've stopped exercising them. It's one of the reasons when people do exercise and then they just go for a walk or go home, especially if they're not wearing any jackets or coverings because they go, I'm hot. The muscles will be more sore later because they've just gone, ah! So cooling down is really important to help prevent some of that pain and to hopefully keep you from feeling sore or the next day. I will stop the recording now just because that has gone on for a while.
Yep.